The world of sports and entertainment often crosses paths in ways that captivate millions of fans across the globe, creating a spectacle where every single detail is scrutinized by the public eye. When two massive worlds collide, such as the elite echelons of professional football and the peak of global pop stardom, the resulting ripples can dominate headlines for weeks on end. It is a realm where friendships are broadcasted on massive media platforms, where professional camaraderie turns into deeply personal bonds, and where an invitation to a private event becomes the ultimate marker of status and inner circle belonging. For years, athletes have shared a unique brotherhood forged in the intense environment of training camps, high-stakes games, and the shared understanding of what it takes to perform at the absolute highest level. This brotherhood often extends far beyond the gridiron, transforming into lifelong friendships that are celebrated openly in the media, on popular podcasts, and at exclusive annual gatherings designed to unite the best of the best. Fans follow these relationships with immense curiosity, feeling as though they are part of the inner circle themselves, watching the banter, the mutual support, and the public declarations of loyalty that define modern sports culture. It is against this backdrop of hypervisibility and deep-seated loyalty that the subtle dynamics of friendship are tested, particularly when monumental life events take place under the glare of the international spotlight. Drawing sharp lines between those who are included and those who find themselves watching from a distance. In the fast-paced ecosystem of digital sports media, podcasts and talk shows have become the new locker rooms, where former and current players break down barriers and speak with a level of raw honesty that was once entirely hidden from the public. These platforms have built massive, dedicated communities of listeners who tune in every single week to get an authentic glimpse into the lives of their favorite personalities, creating an atmosphere of trust and shared experience. If you enjoy diving deep into these gripping stories behind the headlines and want to stay updated on every major twist in the world of sports culture, make sure to subscribe to the channel right now so you never miss an episode. On these shows, casual conversations can quickly transform into viral moments, especially when the hosts lean into the unfiltered truth of their personal lives and friendships. The bond between players is often presented as unbreakable, built on years of shared struggles and mutual respect both on and off the field. This collective camaraderie is celebrated annually at specialized sports summits that bring together elite athletes from across the nation to hone their craft, share secrets of the game, and solidify their place in an exclusive fraternity. To be a core part of this community is to hold a position of significant influence and respect, making any perceived shift in these relationships a matter of intense fascination for fans and media analysts alike, who constantly look for clues about who is truly in the inner circle when a cultural phenomenon of unprecedented proportions takes over the collective consciousness. Every individual connected to it finds themselves swept up in a whirlwind of media attention and public fascination. The union of a legendary sports icon and a global music superstar creates a narrative so powerful that it transcends traditional reporting, turning every related gathering into a historic event covered by every major outlet. The preparation, the secrecy, and the sheer scale of such an occasion naturally generate an aura of immense mystique, where the guest list alone becomes a subject of intense debate and speculation for months leading up to the big day. For those who have walked alongside these figures during their rise to fame, shared casual moments on popular broadcast sets, and championed their milestones, there is a natural expectation of shared celebration. The digital age ensures that when such an event finally unfolds, the vivid images, celebratory posts, and behind-the-scenes glimpses flood social media platforms almost instantly, allowing the public to piece together the exact composition of the star-studded crowd. It is a visual feast that highlights the gathering of industry titans, legendary athletes, and prominent media figures, all coming together in a spectacular display of unity and celebration that captures the imagination of millions. Yet, as the glamorous images from these exclusive celebrations began to surface across the internet, painting a picture of an unforgettable night filled with laughter, reunion, and elite companionship, an unexpected narrative began to take shape behind the scenes. Amid the sea of familiar faces from the sports world, prominent analysts, and high-profile television personalities who filled the historic venue, the noticeable absence of certain key figures started to raise questions among sharp-eyed observers in the media. For someone who had long been considered a foundational pillar of this specific athletic community, a regular fixture at exclusive seasonal summits, and a close personal associate of the groom, Finding oneself completely outside the orbit of this massive celebration was an unexpected turn of events. The contrast between the festive atmosphere displayed in the viral photos and the quiet realization of being left out created a sudden, palpable tension that did not take long to erupt into an open, public discussion on a popular morning broadcast, setting the stage for a dramatic exploration of friendship, media visibility, and the complex realities of life in the spotlight. The delicate balance of public camaraderie and private reality was pushed into the open during a recent broadcast of the highly popular digital media show Wake Up Barstool, hosted by the blunt and influential media executive Dave Portnoy. While breaking down the massive cultural waves surrounding the monumental New York City wedding of Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift at Madison Square Garden, Portnoy directly confronted his guest, retired NFL linebacker Will Compton, about his stunning absence from the star-studded ceremony. Compton, a highly respected 36-year-old former athlete who has transitioned into a prominent media personality, found himself under the microscope as Portnoy, known for his unfiltered and direct interviewing style, did not hesitate to ask the hard questions about why such a central figure in Kelce's professional circle was nowhere to be seen at the event of the year. The question immediately shifted the tone of the broadcast from casual banter to raw, unfiltered human emotion, catching listeners by surprise and setting social media ablaze as the realization sunk in that one of Kelce's long-standing peers had been left off the high-profile guest list. Compton admitted with complete honesty that when news of the wedding first broke, he genuinely did not think much of his lack of an invitation, assuming the event was perhaps a microscopic family gathering or a strictly private affair designed to escape the relentless gaze of the paparazzi. However, that initial indifference quickly evaporated into a feeling of absolute bewilderment as the historic weekend unfolded and the internet became flooded with high-definition photos, videos, and joyful social media updates from a wide array of attendees. As Compton watched the digital coverage from afar, he realized with growing astonishment that almost the entire elite community of professional football tight ends, sports analysts, and media executives had gathered in the heart of Manhattan to celebrate the union. The former linebacker described himself as completely flabbergasted as he scrolled through image after image, realizing that virtually everybody else from their shared professional circle was present at the massive Madison Square Garden ceremony. The true turning point that sparked Compton's public call-out of his longtime friend was seeing specific individuals who had secured a coveted invitation to the exclusive nuptials. In particular, Compton pointed out his profound surprise at seeing Fox Sports Rules analyst and prominent television personality Dean Blandino among the glamorous wedding crowd. During the broadcast, a visibly shocked Compton openly questioned the reality of the situation, asking Portnoy if it was truly accurate that Blandino had received an invite, to which Portnoy directly confirmed that not only was the veteran sports analyst present, but that essentially everyone associated with Kelce's annual Tight End University Summit had made the cut. This revelation cut incredibly deep for Compton because he is not merely a casual acquaintance of the Kansas City Chiefs star, rather he has been a foundational staple and an active participant at the exclusive Tight End University Summit for years, helping to build the event's culture and participating heavily in the viral media content that surrounds it every summer. The emotional weight and sudden tension of the conversation became so intense that Compton actually cut out and disconnected Bree Fly during the live phone call with Portnoy, leaving the audience hanging on every word before he could re-establish the connection. Upon return to the line, the former NFL linebacker made it absolutely clear that he did not intend to let the snub slide quietly, stating firmly that he planned to have a direct, man-to-man conversation with Travis Kelce to understand where their friendship truly stood after being left out of such a massive milestone. The brief, high-friction broadcast clip spread like wildfire across the social media platform X, racking up millions of views within a matter of hours as fans of both the NFL and global pop culture began debating the underlying dynamics of the snub. Recognizing the exploding viral nature of the situation, Compton took to his personal social media account to address the public directly, tweeting with characteristic humor and vulnerability that it had been an incredibly tough phone call to endure on live digital television. He revealed to his followers that his heart rate had spiked dramatically during the intense media grilling, sitting at a staggering 142 beats per minute for 44 straight minutes as he navigated the awkwardness of addressing a personal friendship grievance in front of a massive global audience, in an effort to provide necessary celerity and de-escalate some of the mounting drama. Compton publicly thanked his media colleague T. Bob Hebert for stepping in at the top of the broadcast to provide critical geographical context to the situation. Hebert had clarified to the audience that, regardless of the invitation status, Compton was actually traveling in Italy with his family when Swift and Kelce walked down the aisle, meaning that attendance would have been a logistical challenge regardless. Yet, for Compton and the watching public, the core issue was never about the physical ability to attend, but rather the symbolic gesture of the invitation itself, which serves as the ultimate currency of loyalty and respect in the hyper-visible world of elite celebrity friendships. This sudden fracture in the public narrative of their bond stands in sharp, dramatic contrast to the multi-year history of mutual support and professional collaboration that Compton and Kelce had displayed to the world. Since 2019, Compton has co-hosted the wildly successful Bussin' with the Boys podcast alongside his fellow former NFL player Taylor Lewan, building a massive media powerhouse under the Barstool Sports umbrella that relies heavily on unfiltered, authentic conversations with the biggest names in sports. Travis Kelce had famously appeared as a marquee guest on their show for the very first time in July of 2023, a historic media moment that occurred just 2 months before Kelce and Swift officially went public with their record-breaking romance. That initial podcast episode solidified a strong bond of mutual respect as Kelce praised the hosts for their authenticity, creating a highly public alliance that made Compton's eventual exclusion from the wedding guest list feel all the more stunning and unexpected to the sports world at large. The deep history shared between Travis Kelce and the Bussin' with the Boys podcast crew makes this recent wedding snub a fascinating study in the evolving nature of high-profile friendships under the crushing weight of global fame. Following his initial appearance in mid-2023, the Kansas City Chiefs superstar returned to the podcast for a highly anticipated second interview the following year, displaying a level of comfort and vulnerability that fans had rarely seen from him in traditional sports media settings. Sitting down with Will Compton and Taylor Lewan, Kelce opened up extensively about his relationship with the international pop icon, breaking down his top 3 favorite songs from her legendary discography and showing a genuine, deep admiration for her artistry. This memorable episode further cemented the public perception that Compton and Lewan were firmly entrenched in Kelce's trusted inner circle of friends who had access to his private life. The professional relationship continued to flourish, leading to Kelce's most recent blockbuster appearance on the podcast in July of 2025. During that raw and highly publicized conversation, the veteran tight end did not hold back, explicitly dubbing the relentless swarm of global paparazzi as the absolute worst and most invasive part of dealing with Swift's unprecedented level of international fame. In a characteristically colorful and humorous moment that quickly went viral across entertainment news outlets, Kelce quipped to Compton that he absolutely does not want his private life or his personal anatomy splashed across the front pages of notorious celebrity gossip columns like Page 6. This candid discussion about privacy highlighted the extreme measure the couple had to take to protect their personal bond, a protective instinct that culminated just 1 month later in August of 2025, when Kelce officially proposed to the Grammy-winning singer after 2 beautiful years of high-profile dating. Given the massive history of mutual support, casual banter, and shared media triumphs over those crucial 2 years, the sudden shift to complete exclusion left sports analysts and dedicated fans parsing through every past interaction to understand what went wrong. While the newly married power couple has famously remained completely tight-lipped and fiercely protective about the intricate details of their historic nuptials, the few select guests who did receive the coveted invitations have spent weeks openly raving about the uniquely intimate yet breathtakingly grand nature of the historic ceremony. From legendary sporting figures like the decorated Olympian Abby Wambach to prominent media heavyweights such as Good Morning America co-host Robin Roberts, the consensus among attendees was that the event perfectly balanced Hollywood glamour with deep, heartfelt personal connection. The historic gathering at the iconic Madison Square Garden saw more than 1,000 carefully selected high-profile guests watch the legendary duo officially say, "I do." A massive crowd that directly contradicted initial reports by Page 6, suggesting that the couple had already quietly tied the knot in an ultra-private secret ceremony away from the public eye for Will Compton. Navigating this massive media whirlwind while maintaining his professional composure has proven to be a unique challenge that highlights the thin line between public content and private relationships in the modern sports media landscape. The journey of the former linebacker from an undrafted free agent out of Nebraska to an accomplished 9-year NFL veteran, and ultimately to the co-creator of one of the most successful sports podcasts in North America, has always been defined by his raw, unfiltered authenticity and his ability to connect deeply with his peers. Alongside Taylor Lewin, Compton built an empire by breaking down the traditional sterile wall between athletes and fans, creating an environment where superstars like Travis Kelce felt comfortable letting their guard down completely. This is precisely why the absence of an invitation felt less like a simple scheduling oversight and more like a significant symbolic shift in the underlying dynamics of their brotherhood. Especially considering that other prominent media figures and sports analysts who were far less involved in Kelce's personal journey managed to secure a seat at the historic Madison Square Garden ceremony. It underscores the harsh reality that as friendships scale up into the stratosphere of unprecedented global celebrity, the boundaries inevitably change, and old friends can sometimes find themselves locked on the outside of a newly constructed inner circle designed to navigate a level of fame that very few humans on Earth will ever truly understand. The fallout from this viral conversation continues to ripple across the sports world, serving as a powerful reminder of how quickly personal dynamics can become public entertainment in the modern digital age. Fans remain deeply divided on the issue, with some defending Kelce's absolute right to curate his historic wedding guest list exactly how he and his superstar bride saw fit, while others completely sympathize with Compton's genuine sense of bewilderment and hurt over being publicly left out of a celebration that included so many of his direct professional peers. Whether Compton and Kelce will successfully navigate this awkward public speed bump and restore the easygoing, collaborative brotherhood that defined their past podcast appearances remains to be seen. But the fascinating saga has already left an indelible mark on the broader cultural conversation surrounding loyalty, fame, and the complex evolution of modern athletic friendships. As the dust slowly settles on the wedding of the century, the story of the uninvited podcast host stands out as a uniquely human moment of vulnerability amid a sea of manufactured glitz and glamour, proving that no matter how massive the stage or how bright the stadium lights, the fundamental desire for respect, inclusion, and authentic recognition from those we consider our brothers remains a powerful driving force in our lives.